Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some massive news for the Florida Gator fans coming out of the recruiting trail as five-star wide receiver Vernell Brown committing to this Florida Gators program. And what I love most about this commitment is not only is Vernell Brown one of the best players in the country in this 2025 cycle as evidence of the rankings, I think more importantly, this kid is a perfect fit in this Florida Gators offense, where you look at how Billy Napier wants this passing attack to be structured. It's really predicated on getting the football in space to your playmakers. You look at all the success that Eugene Wilson had as a true freshman. I look at Vernell Brown and say, very similar kind of wide receiver that excels after the catch. I think it's a perfect fit in this Florida Gators offense. I think this is a very good football player. Fired up to get into the film, talk about what he brings to this Florida offense. Before we do, and as always, massive shout out to all of you guys checking out the recruiting updates in the middle of July. You know, it's something I love talking about, but the amount of support you guys continue to show it truly does mean a lot. And for the Florida Gator fans, it's going to be a busy next couple of months in this 2025 cycle. We'll be breaking down the commitments. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Vernell Brown. It starts with what he can do after the catch. Again, very similar to Eugene Wilson. You turn on the tape with Vernell Brown. This is a guy that, whether it's a screen pass, whether it's an end around, they are just trying to get him the football in space. And when you see him have the football in space, one, just a really natural ball carrier. And this is a guy that has great feel when the football is in his hands, but the short area quickness for Vernell Brown, it's kind of next level. I mean, the ability to make people miss, set up defenders, very similar to Eugene Wilson. Now, what I think makes Vernell Brown special and very similar to why I'm so excited about Eugene Wilson going into year two is I think Vernell Brown can translate that short area quickness, those elite movement skills that you see when he has the football in his hands. I think he can create that in his route trees as well. And we're talking about a guy that can change direction, vary his speeds, maybe one of, if not the best in the country. Can you translate that into creating separation in your route trees, right? You look at Eugene Wilson, one of the things, or reasons I should say, that we think Eugene Wilson breaks out in the 2024 season is largely during the true freshman year for Eugene Wilson was kind of used as just a gadget guy, a playmaker. They didn't ask him to run a ton of routes down the field. We know Eugene Wilson has some of the better movement skills that you see in the country. Can we have that on full display as he's running his routes in creating separation? We think going into year two, they're certainly going to ask more of him. I look at Vernell Brown, say very similar thing. This is a guy that knows how to vary his speeds, change directions, and I think he can do that as a route runner too. Now, we talk about Vernell Brown. I think it starts with the short area quickness, the movement skills. This kid also burns. Like, he can win vertically down the field. I don't think it's his calling card because I think he has just an elite trait of that short area quickness. He's a guy that if you are an opposing defense, you have to respect what he can do working vertically down the field. And Florida is continuing to just load up this wide receiver room with difference-making speed. I mean, you go back to the 2023 class with Aiden Mizell and guys like Eugene Wilson. Then you look at 2024 with guys like Tank Hawkins. This is going to be one of the faster wide receiver rooms that you see in the SEC. And when you are just faster than opposing defenses that are trying to cover you, it lets you do a lot of different things on the offensive side of the football. Now, you get into Eugene Wilson on the film, and again, I think it first starts with the short area quicks. You see this all over the film. Hey, we're just going to get him the football in space and let good things happen. Two things. One, I mean, the ability to get in and out of his cuts, vary his speeds, make people miss, that's really special. But I also just love the feel for when he has the football in his hands, setting up defenders, really nice contact balance, short area quicks, making people miss it. He just checks all of those boxes that you want, and one of those dynamic playmakers with the football in their hands. He can also work vertically. I mean, if you want to squeeze down on this Florida Gators defense, Vernell Brown's one of those guys that he can win over the top. And again, I don't think it's necessarily his calling card, but if you want to walk your safeties into the box, Vernell Brown can make you pay. This is what I kind of want to see more consistently on Vernell Brown's film, the ability to create separation with that short area quickness, where you kind of see the short area quicks on full display when he has the football in his hands. Now, can we translate that to your route running ability, right here you see it, right? Press man coverage in the red zone. I mean, just the ability to set up defenders, create that separation in the red zone, then go make a play. Not many things that Vernell Brown can't do. He's obviously a phenomenal special teamer as well. That should not come as a surprise. Again, the field management, the vision, the feel, and it's just all there with Vernell Brown when he has the football in his hands. And a couple other things that you'll see on the film that at least I really appreciate is what he can do in some of those contested catch situations as well. Now, you'll see Vernell Brown, he's mostly going to create separation. He's a guy that when you want to throw him the football up in the air, I mean, he's got some really, really good ball skills and can go make some plays in the football as well. I think this is a really good example of it here where, hey, we're going to work vertically. We're going to have the quarterback just go up and give us a chance. And Vernell Brown high pointing it, going up, making a play, staying on his feet. I mean, you're talking about just a different caliber athlete, for lack of better terms. And you go to the 2025 cycle for Florida now. You've heard a lot of the national media talk about it being, we're going to get this ad out of the way here, a slow start for the Florida Gators on the recruiting trail. There's no question it has been. I think if you're a Florida Gator fan, what excites you the most is what happens if Florida can start winning some football games in the 2024 season. We saw them land guys like LJ McCray and DJ Lagway in the 2024 class with not really getting it done on Saturdays in the fall all that consistently. I think secondly, if you can win a lot of football games in 2024 and you come to National Signing Day early December, I would be very surprised if Billy Napier is not flipping a few top prospects in this 2025 cycle. So, although a slow start for the Florida Gators in this 2025 cycle, I think this class can finish out pretty dang good. I think the second thing to note is there's a lot of blue chip talent, right? Vernell Brown, obviously joining this list. Jalen Wiggins, top 100 national defensive lineman, I think could play on the edge, could play on the inside. Waltez Clark, a really intriguing running back who is dynamic out of the backfield. Look at Miles Johnson flipping his commitment from Alabama to Florida. Then Joshua Moore being a 3-star, at least in my mind. And we talked about it when we broke down Joshua Moore's film. That kid's much better than a 3-star. I'm very confident that he's going to end up as a 4-star prospect. And I think one thing to add is you look at the pass catchers in this Florida Gators 2025 cycle. I love how it's balanced, right? We talked about Florida kind of missing that big-bodied boundary wide receiver that can work vertically down the field. I think they got a guy in Josh Moore who can do that. And then you look at Vernell Brown and where he fits in when you have this kid in Joshua Moore that can win vertically, make safeties respect what you can do. It's going to open up the short underneath route trees for a guy like Vernell Brown. And so if you're Florida, yes, it's a slow start. We fully expect Florida to finish pretty strongly in this 2025 cycle. But if they win games in 2024, that's what excites you the most. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.